Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to speak on the theme consolidated gas supply security by revisiting infrastructure and policy framework. Indeed, this subject is critical for sustainable gas supply for energy security. My intention is to set the tone, then I'll have to defer. But the Chief Operating Officer, Gas and Power, Engineer Said Mohammed, will be handy to the panel should they, during the course of discourse, want some more light on the paper. First, permit me to set the tone of this discourse by listing the critical factors necessary for sustainable gas supply security in Nigeria. These factors include, among others, the enormous natural gas reserves we have, 202 TCF, equivalent to 5.8 trillion barrels of oil equivalent, proven, an upside to 600 TCF, 17.1 trillion barrels of oil equivalent. We also have exponential domestic growth, robust and integrated gas infrastructure system, linkage of the gas supply sources to domestic, regional and export markets. Also, the intervention by the federal government as necessary, funding, and of course, security. As we are all aware, natural gas, unlike crude oil, has that unusual but tested capacity to propel rapid industrialization to achieve enduring economic progress. This was seen in the address by the Secretary General of the IGE. Nigeria's enormous natural gas reserves qualifies us to be in the league of these successful nations. Nigeria's current 2P gas estimate of about 202 TCF, with upside potential for up to 600 TCF in undiscovered resources. With this resource base, Nigeria has about 10 times the Nigerian reserve space and is ninth in the world based on proven gas reserves. With undiscovered potential, Nigeria could be in the same league as Iran, Qatar, and Russia. Gas consumption in the domestic market in Nigeria was relatively flat at approximately 300 million standard cubic feet per day of gas throughout the 90s. However, from 2002, Nigeria began to experience a general increase in domestic demand. And by 2006, gas consumption in the domestic market had reached just over 500 million standard cubic feet per day. This growth was mostly driven by the power sector, which consumed about 70% of total Nigerian domestic gas then. The power sector's massive investment in power and relocation of gas-based industry into Nigeria led to an unprecedented growth in domestic gas demand, far above the global average growth rate. The projected domestic gas demand grew from less than 500 million standard cubic feet per day in 2010 to about 1,500 million standard cubic feet per day by 2017, and is projected to grow to over 7.5 BCF per day by 2020. This unprecedented growth in domestic gas demand led to the Gas Master Plan Policy Initiative, and it detailed out major infrastructure expansion, gas supply development acceleration, revamp of commercial framework for gas, and technical efforts to accelerate supply to power sector, in addition to a gas industrialization strategy. The reforms are basically three-pronged, namely domestic gas supply obligation, gas pricing policy and regulation, and gas infrastructure blueprint, as we heard from the Honorable Minister. Between 2010 till date, an aggressive implementation of this plan, as well as policy updates, have been the focus of the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and the NNPC. The following policy updates have been introduced by the Ministry, some of which have been stated by the Honorable Minister. One, the gazetting of the Flare Gas Prevention of Waste and Pollution Regulations 2018. The new regulation will provide legal framework to support government's plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through flaring and venting of natural gas. Under the regulation, the Nigerian gas flare commercialization policy will be implemented. This policy envisages allocating flare points to willing investors to process and create value through an open and transparent licensing process with the aim of eliminating gas flares by 2020, ahead of the World Bank Zero Routine Flare Initiative target of 2030. B, implementing robust end-to-end contractual commitments and agreements. These include execution of bankable gas sales and purchase agreements, gas supply agreements, and gas transportation agreements. Our current average gas production is in the region of 8.5 BCF. Of this volume, 3.7 BCF, over 3%, is exported. 2.7 BCF, that 2%, is used in the upstream for gas injection, gas lift, and other field uses. 1.5 BCF, or 18%, is used domestically, mainly for power and industries, while the balance of 0.6 BCF currently is being flared. We have significantly increased our domestic gas supply and have reformed the commercial framework for gas by reviewing the domestic gas price to export parity and develop world-class standardized gas supply agreements. However, going forward, NNPC has developed a clear-cut strategy for growing gas supply to meet the unprecedented growth in gas demand. These include the completion of the short-term gas supply projects, like the incremental supply from NPDC Orero, Otorogu, and Odidi re-entry projects. These projects, at full completion, would deliver about 240 million standard cubic feet of gas to the domestic market by later this year or early next year. We have identified 7 critical gas projects to add about 3.4 BCF to bridge the foreseen medium-term supply gap by 2020, which have been aggressively implemented on an accelerated basis. These projects, when fully implemented, will enable the nation to meet its aspiration of delivering gas to support the 15,000 megawatt power generation from gas and position Nigeria as a regional hub for gas-based industries like petrochemicals, chemicals, methanol, fertilizer, etc. The third initiative we are looking at is the virtual gas supply options. We have signed the first ever green gas sales agreement with Greenville Mini LNG to usher in the era of virtual pipelines in Nigeria. This will ensure that areas that are not easily accessible by gas pipelines can now be reached through virtual pipelines. The fourth one is to cater for the supply of interruptions. This to cater for supply interruptions, we have also initiated the development of underground gas storage facilities. This is currently being pursued by our SB NIAGAS. Another initiative is the integration of the domestic and export gas infrastructure system. We have developed a concept of gas infrastructure integration, which is to integrate the dry and wet gas pipeline systems. That is creating a dry-wet gas pipeline loop by connecting the O&GAS to the EBS and connecting the OB3 pipeline to the Asa North or Haji South Central Processing Facility. And finally, closing the loop by connecting the Asa North or Haji South Central Processing Facility to the gas transmission systems GTS-1 and GTS-4 of the Nigerian region. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that the gas infrastructure integration will consolidate our gas supply network system by creating a full, robust gas infrastructure network system for flexibility of gas supply by fully utilizing our gas pipelines infrastructure, the O&GAS, the EBS, the OB3, GTS-1 and GTS-4, etc., and processing plants to harness onshore and stranded offshore gas to domestic and regional export markets. On the approved gas infrastructure blueprint, we have begun the most aggressive implementation of the nationwide gas infrastructure blueprint, constructing critical integrated gas pipeline system across the nation. Today, we have completed and commissioned almost 440 kilometers of new gas pipelines, thereby connecting all existing power plants to permanent gas supply sources. We are also currently completing the construction of the strategic OB3 East-West interconnector pipeline and doubling the capacity of the existing Escravos to Lagos pipeline, Western pipeline system. We have also kicked off the 614-kilometer Ajakuta-Kaduna-Kano pipeline project. The AKK pipeline at completion will deliver gas to the ongoing Abuja, Kaduna, and Kano power plants, which will generate an additional 3.6 gigawatts to the national grid. We expect other gas-based industries to also come on stream, like the fertilizer plants and petrochemicals. On the gas processing hubs, we are working towards actualizing the upgrade and expansion of the Otorogo gas plant from 510 million standard cubic feet per day to 1 BCF to harness and process gas within the western area. Also, the development of a 600 million standard cubic feet per day Arsenal to Hashi South CPF by the SPDC joint venture and the separate NGC consortium. This will serve as the processing hub within the central area and expansion of the existing 200 million standard cubic feet per day Frontier Oils Limited's UCO gas plant as the eastern processing hub. However, despite the significant progress made so far, some broad gas sector challenges will need to be tackled for sustainable gas supply security. I believe the panel will have a sustained solution. We need to get sustained solution to the vandalism of oil pipelines. 2, we need to address the insufficient power evacuation challenges we are frequently facing. We have to curtail gas production due to back pressure on the south pipeline when these power plants are not taking gas. We need to address the problem of poor payment performance by the power sector for gas consumed. The fourth challenge, funding of critical infrastructure will be a continued challenge in the short term to medium term as the funding capacity of the government reduces. Alternative funding options will need to be developed, but may require government support through guarantees and backstops, which are in conflict to some extent with the World Bank negative pledge. To conclude, I'm personally excited about the progress made so far in the gas commercialization in Nigeria, with a pragmatic policy direction and strategic approach in growing and sustaining gas supply to meet the unprecedented demand. However, I would like to reiterate the need for the support of all stakeholders to implement our proposed concept of gas infrastructure integration, which will consolidate our gas supply network system by creating a full, robust gas infrastructure network system. But to achieve sustainable gas supply, I urge us to use this gathering of senior executives, policymakers from oil and gas industry, government, financial institutions, and all stakeholders to deliberate upon the challenges and come up with realistic implementing solutions. Once again, I thank you for the honor and opportunity afforded me to present these few words. I wish you all very successful deliberations. Thank you very much. I beg my leave.